Let me ask you an uncomfortable question. How is it possible that we're living in the most prosperous, advanced, and comfortable era in human history, and at the same time, we are more anxious, more depressed, and more lost than ever? What did we do wrong? For decades, we were told that happiness was simple: more money, more stability, more development, more economic growth. And we achieved it, but something isn't working. Let's talk about this. Research in developed countries shows something really surprising. Above physical health, above employment, even above escaping poverty, mental health is the most important determinant of individual happiness. Not income, not status, not the house, but the mind. And that's where we are failing. Uh, The Health Organization estimates that globally, 450 million people experience a mental or behavioral health condition at some point in their lives. 350 million of them suffer from clinical depression. These are historic numbers. Nearly 1 million people die by suicide every year worldwide. 1 million. That means that while you are watching this video, somewhere in the world, someone is silently fighting thoughts they don't know how to handle. And this is not happening only in poor countries or in war zones. It's happening in the richest countries on the planet. For example, in the United Kingdom, 1 in 4 people will experience a mental health crisis in a single year. 1 in 4. Anxiety and chronic depression are now the most common disorders. Nearly 6% Britons over the age of 16 will attempt to end their lives at some point in their lives. And the World Health Organization projects that by 2030, depression will become the most burdensome health condition in high income countries. More than cancer, more than heart disease, and more than any illness. So I return to the question, what did we do wrong? For centuries, humanity struggled to survive. The problem was external, be it food, be it shelter, be it safety. Today, at least in much of the developed world, these problems are relatively under control. But now the problem is internal. The mind has become our new battlefield. We build smart cities, sophisticated financial systems, technology that connects the planet in seconds. But what happened? No one taught us how to understand our thoughts. No one taught us how to manage anxiety. No one taught us what to do when the mind turns against us. We were taught to compete, to produce, to accumulate, but not how to be well. And here's something that is even more alarming. The estimated global cost of mental disorders in lost economic productivity over the next 20 years is projected to reach $16 trillion. dollars. 16 trillion. That's more than the combined GDP of many of the major economies. In other words, we're not paying the emotional price. We're paying the social and economic price too. But I want you to understand something deeper. This is not just a medical crisis, it's a crisis of meaning. Because when the mind loses stability, everything loses meaning. You can have external success and feel internal emptiness, for example. You can have a lot of followers on social media and feel alone. You can have financial security and feel constant fear. Um, the great mistake we made as a society was believing that external progress would automatically generate internal well being. We assumed that if we raised living standards, we would raise happiness. But happiness doesn't work that way. It simply doesn't. The human mind doesn't work that way. For example, in developed countries, extreme poverty has declined. Access to healthcare has improved. Technology has made life easier. And yet, anxiety skyrockets, depression increases, the use of anti anxiety medication rises every year. Why? Because we solved the physical problems, but neglected the psychological ones. And there's more. We live in a culture of constant comparison. You know what I'm talking about, right? Social media, unrealistic expectations, infinite productivity, 24/7 availability. Never before have we had so much access to other people's lives, and never before have we felt so inadequate. The human mind did not evolve to process this level of constant stimulation. It did not evolve to compare itself to thousands of people every day. It did not evolve to receive notifications every minute if you allow it. We are overloading our nervous system, and we wonder why we're exhausted. But here's something important. We're not broken, we're not disoriented. There is a huge difference. Being broken means something is defective. Being disoriented means we lost the map. And the map we were given was incomplete. We were taught how to make money. We were taught how to study. We were taught how to compete. But no one taught us how to observe our thoughts without believing every single one of them. No one taught us that not every thought is true. Much of modern suffering doesn't come from what happens outside, but from constant narrative happening inside. The mind generates scenarios, projections, imaginary catastrophes, endless comparisons. And when we don't know how to relate to that, what happens? We drown in our own mental activity. Oh, there are some bugs in here, but I have a nice background. So this explains something critical. You can have the same external circumstances as someone else and experience completely different levels of well-being. Because the difference isn't only the environment, it's in the relationship with your inner space. Now, I'm not saying poverty or external hardships don't matter. They do. But the data is pretty clear. In the richest countries in the world, where those variables are relatively controlled, mental health continues to deteriorate. That means the problem is deeper than material conditions. We are facing the paradox of progress. The more physically comfortable we become, the more psychologically uncomfortable we feel. And that should force us to rethink our entire model of success. Maybe the true development of society shouldn't be measured only by GDP, but by the emotional stability of its citizens, by their ability to regulate stress, by their ability to find meaning, by their ability to live in mental clarity. Because when the mind collapses, everything collapses. Relationships, productivity, physical health, motivation, even hope. But let me give you some good news. If the problem is internal, the solution has to be internal too. But not through force, not through self-criticism, not through fixing yourself, but through understanding how your mind works. Through recognizing that thoughts are mental events and not commands, through realizing that anxiety is a signal, not a sentence, through accepting that well-being does not depend solely on circumstances, the great revolution of the 21st century will not be technological. It will be psychological. The real wealth of the future will not be financial. It's going to be mental stability. So I return to the original question. What did we do wrong? Maybe we didn't do anything wrong intentionally. We simply progressed outward without progressing inward. And now we are paying the price of the imbalance we created. But we are still in time. You are still in time. If you are watching this video, you're still in time, trust me. We're living in a historical moment with the most information about the mind, the most tools available to understand it, the most people waking up to the importance of psychological well-being. So the question is, are we going to continue chasing only external progress, or are we finally going to invest seriously in our mental health? Because if the data shows anything, is this: you can live in the richest country in the world, you can have access to everything, but if your mind is at war, no amount of wealth will ever be enough for you or your relatives. And now I want to ask you something personal. If mental health is the most important determinant of happiness, what are you doing today to take care of yours? Let me know in the comments. I want to read you. I want to interact with you guys. Please let me know. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and take a look at this beautiful river where I'm making this video for you guys. I'm from Costa Rica, just a small country in Central America, but I hope everyone in the world gets to see my message. See you in the next video, everyone.